If you want the next 90 days to be different than the last 90 days, you've got to do something different. That means picking up some new habits, trying out new disciplines, or diving into books that challenge your thinking. Maybe it's improving your health, strengthening your family relationships, or just taking a fresh approach to life. It doesn't have to be monumental, it just has to be intentional. Because here's the truth. We can't change our circumstances, but we can change ourselves. And when we change what we do, the results start to shift. Now, let me share a lesson that changed my life. My mentor told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Jim, what you have right now, you've attracted by the person you've become. What you have, your income, your relationships, your opportunities, is a direct result of who you are." That's not always easy to hear, is it? It's tough to stop pointing fingers at the market, the economy, or someone else and instead look in the mirror. But that's where the transformation begins. And then he gave me the secret. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Oh, when I got that, everything turned around, he said. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. That hit me like a lightning bolt. You see, back when I was 25, I was a hard worker, no doubt about it. Show up early, stay late, put in the hours, that was me. I had pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank. Why? Because I was working hard on my job, not on myself. Now, if you can grasp this one principle and act on it, today or tomorrow at the latest, it will change everything. Start the process of personal development. Work on becoming more valuable to the marketplace. And I promise you, your life will explode with possibilities. Your income will grow, your relationships will flourish, and the opportunities will come knocking. But here's the thing, don't waste time trying to change things outside of you. Don't mess with the seed, the soil, the sunshine, or the rain. Those are constants. The seasons will always be what they are. Instead, let the miracle of life do its part, and you focus on your part. Work on your philosophy. Shape your attitude, refine your communication skills, strengthen your abilities, improve your personality. It's all about becoming more, doing more, and being more. Because when you change, everything around you will change. Promotions, no problem. Wealth, no problem. Opportunities, no problem. Your future, no problem. The key is to stop hoping for easier circumstances and start becoming a stronger, wiser, and better equipped person. Work harder on yourself than anything else, and you'll see how life begins to work for you. Mr. Schaaf taught me some of the most profound yet simple lessons that would go on to change my life. Now, Mr. Schaaf wasn't a man of formal education. He only made it to the 9th grade. Never finished high school, never went to college. Never stepped foot in a university. But what he did have was a way of breaking down ideas in the simplest, clearest language you could imagine. For a kid like me, raised on the farmlands of Idaho, that simplicity was a blessing. If his ideas had been technical, I'd have missed them. If they had been mystic, I'd have backed away. But his lessons were none of that. They were basic, blunt, and familiar. A BC stuff. Simple truths I hadn't thought of before, but desperately needed to hear. And those simple truths were what began to turn my life around. I remember one day I told him, "This is all the company pays." And Mr. Schaaf stopped me in my tracks. He said, "Jim, you've been working here 6 years. How come you're not doing better?" I repeated, "This is all the company pays." But he looked me straight in the eye and said, "No, Jim, this is all the company pays you." That hit me like a ton of bricks. He went on, "Doesn't the company pay 2, 3, 4, 5 times that amount to other people?" I admitted, "Well, yes." And then he dropped the lesson on me. Then the problem isn't the company, it's you. If you qualify, your income could double, triple, even multiply 5-fold. So we don't have to work on the company. We have to work on you. That was my first introduction to the concept of personal development. It was the idea that if I wanted my circumstances to improve, I had to improve myself. Another day I told him, "Things cost too much." He fired back, "No, Jim, you just can't afford them." That stung a little, but it opened my eyes. He explained, we put valuable things on the high shelf for a reason. You have to qualify to reach them. And if you want the things on the high shelf, you've got to stand on the books you've read. Every book you read lifts you a little higher. That simple metaphor changed my perspective. And here's the phrase he taught me that completely shifted my thinking. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Let me say that again. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Success isn't something you chase like a butterfly that always stays out of reach. It's something you attract by becoming an attractive person, by developing yourself, your skills, and your mindset. That was revolutionary for me because up to that point, I was just working hard trying to make a living. Then Mr. Schaaf dropped another on me. Profits are better than wages. He said, Jim, wages make you a living, but profits can make you a fortune. Nobody had ever told me that. Not in high school, not in my 1 year of college. But there it was. A simple truth that could change everything. He explained you can work full-time on your job to make a living and part-time on your fortune. That idea lit a fire in me. It wasn't just about paying the bills anymore. It was about building a life of abundance. And guess what? I started doing it. I worked on my living and I worked on my fortune. And I discovered something incredible. Anybody can do it once they get the right information. Mr. Schaaf also taught me this. Your income is directly related to your philosophy, not the economy. I used to think my income was tied to external factors, the market, the government, luck. But he made it clear. No, Jim. Your philosophy has to change. I told him I had my fingers crossed, hoping for things to get better. He said, Jim, crossing your fingers won't cut it. You've got to change you. And then he began teaching me the disciplines, the principles, and the skills that would allow me to multiply my income, not just by 2 or 3 times, but by 10 and then 10 again. Looking back, those were life-changing lessons, delivered in the simplest terms. Mr. Schaaf didn't give me exotic theories or complex strategies. He gave me the basics. He taught me that success isn't something you chase. It's something you become. And if you work on becoming a better, more valuable person, success will find you. So here's the key phrase: don't go searching for the exotic until you've mastered the basics. Work on your philosophy, work on your skills, work on becoming the kind of person who attracts success rather than chases it. Because when you change, everything changes. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Now, the key to unlocking all the treasures, whether they're economic, spiritual, financial, social, or personal, is your own personal development. That's it. That's the secret. And then my mentor shared something so powerful, so profound, that it's worth the price of admission all by itself. What you become is much more valuable than what you get. What you become is infinitely more valuable than anything you could ever acquire. So the major question to ask yourself isn't, what am I getting here? No, the question is, what am I becoming here? Because here's the truth. What you become attracts. If you become cynical, you'll attract cynicism. If you become wise, you'll attract wisdom. If you become valuable, you'll attract value. It's an unchanging law of life. What you become is what you draw to yourself. This idea of personal development, it was life-changing for me. It wasn't just about making money, though. That came too. By age 31, I was a millionaire. But let me tell you, the money was just a small piece of the puzzle. The real treasure was the person I became along the way. From age 25 to age 31, my life transformed in every way you can imagine. But here's another lesson my mentor taught me, one I've carried with me ever since. Be a student, not a follower. Design your own life, chart your own course. Take notes, learn, absorb ideas, but at the end of the day, make your own decisions. If you come to my seminar, I'm thrilled if you take notes. But you know what? I'm just as happy if you listen, decide it's not for you, and tear those notes up. That's your choice, and I respect it. The point is, don't be anybody's disciple. Don't live someone else's life. Don't follow someone else's script. You don't have to be a carbon copy of anyone else. Be your own person. Do it your way. Buy what you want to buy. Listen to what you want to listen to. Make the changes you want to make. Or don't. It's your life and no one has the right to persuade you otherwise. Now, let me clear up a big misconception. Success is not a stereotype. Success isn't a Ferrari. It's not a mansion. It's not a bank account with 7 figures. It's not any of those things. Success is this: the continual unfolding of the design of your own life and pulling it off. That's it. Success is creating the life you want on your terms and making it happen. It's being true to yourself, to your family, to your responsibilities. Or even choosing not to take on certain responsibilities. That's entirely up to you. And here's the beautiful part. We've been given the power of choice. Every other life form on Earth operates by instinct or genetic code, but not us. We've been given the dignity of choice. A tree can't uproot itself and move to better soil. It's stuck where it's planted. But you can go north, south, east, or west. You can reinvent yourself, rewrite your story, and change your direction. But here's what's fascinating. Every life form except humans strives to the maximum of its potential. A tree grows as tall as it can. A bird flies as far as it's capable. But humans, we're the only life form with the unique ability to choose whether or not we'll reach for our potential. So my challenge to you is this: use your gift of choice wisely. Work on your personal development. Ask yourself, what am I becoming? And design a life that's meaningful to you, because success is not what you get. It's who you become. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it possibly can. You'll never find a tree saying, you know what, I think I'll just grow halfway up and call it a day. No, that's not how it works. A tree grows as tall as it can, sends its roots as deep as it can, produces every leaf and branch it possibly can. A tree maxes out. Every life form on Earth strives to reach its maximum potential, except human beings. Now, why is that? Why are humans the exception? Because we've been given something extraordinary, the dignity of choice. We're not robots. We're not programmed to grow to our fullest automatically. We have the freedom to decide how far we'll go, how much we'll do, and who we'll become. And with that freedom comes options. You can choose to become a part of your potential or all of it. You can decide to do just enough to get by and stay comfortable. Or you can reach for the stars. But here's the beauty of it. It's entirely up to you. There's no rule book saying you have to do it all. Now, let me clear something up. This idea that you must be rich because you live in a rich country. Nonsense. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to live in a mansion or own fancy cars. What you have to do is decide what's right for you. Maybe you want to do a little, maybe a lot. Maybe you want to climb the corporate ladder. Or maybe you want to head for the mountains, live in a cabin, and feed the squirrels. If that's what you want to do, and you design your life that way and pull it off, you're a smashing success. Success isn't about what society says you should do. It's about creating a life that satisfies you, a life that reflects your values, your goals, your vision. As Abraham Lincoln said, "Since I would be no one's slave, I will be no one's master." Powerful words. You take advice, sure. You listen to good ideas, of course. But don't take orders. Don't let anyone tell you how to live your life. Success is personal. It's your design, your blueprint, your masterpiece. Now, here's the thing. If you take on responsibilities, you have to honor them. You can't just ignore them. Oh, you can try, but it won't feel good in the long run. As the old prophet said, some things that taste sweet in the mouth turn bitter in the belly. Ignore your responsibilities and you'll pay the price later. Life comes with a universal truth. We must all suffer one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And let me tell you, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. You don't want to trade a little effort today for a lifetime of looking back and saying, if only I had ... Now you can do it. You have the freedom to design your life however you wish. But let me tell you, some things are just poor trade-offs. The old prophet once said, what if you gained the whole world, but it cost you your soul? Would that be worth it? With a bit of intelligence, we know the answer is no. Even if you gained the whole world, if the price was your soul, it wouldn't be worth it. That experience would be so bitter, so devastating, that all the gain in the world wouldn't make up for the loss. And what about gaining by greed instead of legitimate ambition? Sure, it might taste sweet at first. It might even feel like success. But let me warn you, it'll turn bitter in the belly. That kind of gain won't last. Won't nourish you, and eventually it'll leave you hollow. That's why we must confront the laws, spiritual laws, agricultural laws, and the fundamental laws of life. These laws are unchanging, and they're always in effect. You plant greed, you'll reap emptiness. You plant integrity, you'll reap fulfillment. That's just how it works. But here's the thing, you still get to design your life. You can do a little or a lot. You can choose to go east, north, south, or west. The choice is yours. Just remember, some trade-offs aren't worth it. Now, let me share with you a simple approach to creating life change. An approach that can transform your personality, your lifestyle, and your results. Everything can change, but it starts with a few key principles. The first is to find out how things work. The key to doing better in life is knowledge. You need ideas because there's nothing an idea can't change. My mentor, Mr. Schaff, taught me something that completely shifted my thinking. He said, the problem isn't lack of money, it's lack of ideas. I remember telling him, but I don't have any money. And he stopped me and said, no, Jim, that's not the issue. The real issue is that you don't have the idea on how to create money. Money isn't the problem. Ideas are. That one insight was revolutionary. When you have the right ideas, you can change anything, your bank account, your health, your relationships, your results. Everything begins with the right idea. But how do you get those ideas? You make it a habit to study. Constantly study how things work. And when you come across something valuable, don't just trust yourself to remember it. Schaff used to say, don't use your head as a filing cabinet. Write it down. Capture those ideas in a journal. Why? Because once you've written them down, you can go back to them. You can review them, repeat them, and think about them. And over time, repetition works its magic. One day, those ideas will take root and start to grow. They'll show up in your bank account, your personality, and your results. Schaff gave me a word that changed my approach to life. Study. If you want to be successful, study success. If you want to be happy, study happiness. If you want to be wealthy, study wealth. Don't leave it to chance. Don't cross your fingers and hope for the best. Make it a deliberate study. Now, you might not be able to do everything you learn, and that's okay. The important thing is to find out everything you can do. You don't want to get to the end of your life and realize you only lived a fraction of it. Not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of a lack of information. One of the best ways to fuel your study is curiosity. And not just any curiosity, childlike curiosity. Be curious like a child who asks 1,000 questions, then comes back with 1,000 more. They have to know. That's the kind of curiosity that drives discovery and growth. Jesus, the master teacher, said, unless you can become like little children, you won't succeed. What did he mean? I think he was pointing to 4 qualities of children that we can learn from. First is curiosity. Be hungry to learn. Second is excitement. Get thrilled about the possibilities in life and your ability to change. Third is faith. Believe like a child, without cynicism or doubt. Fourth is trust. Trust the process, trust yourself, and trust the unfolding of life. Curiosity will drive you to one of the most powerful habits for growth. Reading. Become a good reader. All the successful people I've met share this habit. They read constantly, they're curious, and they've got to know. Reading allows you to learn not just from your own experiences, but from the experiences of others. A single book could save you years of trial and error. Take all the advice you hear, weigh it, and make your own decisions. Don't just follow blindly. Be a student, not a follower. But if you want to change your life, Begin with this. Find out how things work. That's the foundation of everything. Once you start the process, everything else begins to fall into place. Did you know there are books out there that teach you how to be stronger, more decisive, how to speak better, lead better, develop your personality, and have a greater impact on people? Did you know those books exist? And yet people don't read them. How would you explain that? And it's not because they can't read. They can read. Did you know that hundreds of successful people have written down their stories, step by step, how they did it? They put it all in books, laid it all out for us. And people still don't read them. How do you explain that? Here's one explanation. The guy's busy. He says, you don't understand. You work where I work. By the time I struggle home, it's late. I've got to eat, watch a little TV, get some rest. I can't stay up all night reading. And yet this same guy is behind on his car payments. A good worker, sincere, hardworking. But here's the truth. Sincerity and hard work aren't enough. If you don't combine that with the habit of learning, of growing, you'll still end up cold, stony broke. You've got to be more than just a good worker. You've got to become a good reader. And it's not just about books. You've got to get around successful people and listen, pay attention, learn what they know. Now, you can also learn from unsuccessful people. They've got lessons too. Take notes from both sides. From the negative, you learn what not to do. That's valuable. You need to know what to avoid just as much as you need to know what to pursue. For example, find out what poor people are reading. And don't read that. That's good advice, wouldn't you agree? Learn from their mistakes, but then take it a step further. Get around the winners, the successful people. Watch how they move, listen to what they say, study how they say it. And here's something important. Listening isn't easy. Talking is easier. But if you'll practice listening, really listening, every day you'll be amazed at what you'll learn. Great ideas can come from the most surprising places if you're paying attention. Now, here's some of the best advice I'll share with you tonight. It doesn't get better than this. If you're not doing well, find someone who is doing well and take them out to dinner. That's it. Take a rich person to dinner and listen. Spend $50, $60, $80 if you have to. Go all out. Start with the juices and hors d'oeuvres. Keep the conversation going through the salad, the steak, the dessert. Stretch that dinner out for 2 hours. And while they're enjoying the meal, let them talk. If they talk for 2 hours, they might drop an idea in your lap that could change your life. That one dinner could multiply your income 2, 3, even 5 times over. But here's the problem. Most people won't do it. They'll say, well, he's rich, let him buy his own dinner. Or, I don't have time for that. I'm barely getting my own supper on the table, let alone feeding a rich man. And that same guy is behind on his house payment. Hardworking. Yes, sincere. Sure, but sincerity and hard work alone won't cut it. You've got to be better than just hardworking. You've got to be a good listener. And you've got to remember what you learn. Whether it's from a book or a dinner conversation, write it down. Put the good stuff in your journal. Let me share with you another key to finding out how to change your life. Observation, just watch. You can pick up so much simply by paying attention. Get around successful people and observe what they do. Here's why. Success leaves clues. Successful people don't just stumble into greatness. They have habits, routines, and ways of doing things that they repeat over and over. Watch it all. Watch how the man shakes hands. Watch how the lady responds to a compliment. Notice the way they carry themselves, how they interact, how they listen. If someone's making $10,000 a month, I'd even watch how they walk. Maybe that's the secret. You might say, that's a silly walk. But it's $10,000 silly. You don't have the money yet, but you can start with the walk. It has to start somewhere, doesn't it? What I'm asking you to do tonight is to be different. Be unusual. Be a keen observer of life. Ideas are everywhere, waiting for you to notice them. If you become just a little more careful, a little more attentive, you can pick up something tomorrow that could change your life forever. Now, keep in mind there are 2 ways to observe. The first is sight, seeing with your eyes. The second is insight, seeing with your mind. Sight helps you see what's happening, but insight helps you understand why it's happening and how you can use it. Combine the two and you're on your way to breakthroughs. And here's the best advice for sharpening both sight and insight. Pay attention. Don't miss anything. One of the greatest enemies of success is preoccupation. When your mind is scattered, you miss the details that could make all the difference. In our seminars, we teach that lack of focus is a fatal mistake. You've got to learn how to concentrate, to zero in. I read a great article in Reader's Digest once. It was titled, "Wherever you are, be there. Simple advice, but powerful. Be fully present. Don't miss the moment." Now, we've spent some time on this first step for personal development, finding out how things work. And we've covered 3 ways to do it: study, listen, and observe. But now let's move to the next step, and it's just as crucial. Once you've found out how things work, you've got to go to work, take action. Knowledge alone isn't enough. You've got to do something with what you've learned. In business, we call this putting together your game plan. You need a strategy, a clear set of steps to follow. Whether you're in sales, managing a team, or running a household, you need a game plan. Kids need one. Families need one. You need one for your finances, your health, your social life, and your business. And here's the key. Don't just keep it all in your head. Write it down. Operate from paper, not memory. Memory is unreliable, but paper is solid. When someone tells me their goals, I don't ask them to explain. I ask them to show me. Show me your game plan for the next 6 months. Then we can work together to refine it. But if you don't have it written down, it's just a wish, not a plan. Now, let me give you a word that changes everything. Massive. Massive action. Not just action, but massive action. That's the cure, the difference maker. If you're going to make calls, don't just make 10. Make a few thousand. If you're going to reach out to people, don't stop at 1 or 2. Make a few thousand contacts. If you're going to knock on doors, don't quit after a handful. Knock on a few thousand doors. That kind of action shifts everything. Now listen closely to the language of failure. I'll try it once or twice and see what happens. That's how poor thinkers approach life. One guy says, "I'll give it 30 days. 30 days, you can predict his bank balance just by hearing that plan." Here's the truth. You need a better strategy. Starting tomorrow, take a good, hard look at your game plan. If it's not packed with massive action, rewrite it. Fast. Here's the formula. Take a good idea and apply heavy action. Simple, right? Pick up one good idea, take heavy action. Pick up another good idea, take heavy action. That's how success works. The ratio is crystal clear. Good ideas plus heavy action equals results. Now, don't make the mistake of waiting until you've learned everything. Don't sit there thinking you need to know 2,000 or 3,000 things before you act. If you do that, you'll run out of time and end up smart and broke. And let me tell you, it's okay to be dumb and broke. At least there's a reason for it. But smart and broke, that's a tragedy. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge alone. That just makes you a fool. Let your learning lead to action. That's what creates wealth. And wealth isn't just about money, though money is part of it. Wealth is about values, fulfillment, and impact. Money without meaning is an empty achievement. Here's the next principle of personal development. And it's a big one. Don't try to cheat the system. Learn how it works, then work it. Don't cut corners. Don't look for shortcuts. People who do that wind up with a cheap life. Instead, commit to doing things the right way, even if it takes a little longer. Quality always outlasts shortcuts. And here's a key within this step. Be a fast learner. Don't let life teach you the same lesson 7 times. If you keep running into the same wall, it's time to change your approach. One guy said he broke his nose in the same spot 7 times. Someone told him maybe it's time to stop going to that place. Learn faster. The quicker you adjust, the sooner you win. Now, here's the next point. Don't be stubborn. You've got to stay open Stay flexible. Some people cling to the old ways even when a better way comes along. They say, well, I've been doing it this way for 30 years. Hey, 30 years of doing it wrong doesn't make it right. If there's a better way, embrace it. Be ready for change. Don't resist it. Let me give you a story to illustrate. There was a guy who went to Las Vegas. Now, he didn't have much money, and he didn't want to risk losing what little he had. But you know how Vegas is. The bells are ringing, the lights are flashing, the jackpots are rolling. Temptation gets to him, and he decides he's got to gamble. Only he comes up with a brilliant plan. Instead of risking his actual cash, he decides to gamble mentally. He picks a number like number 3 and mentally bets on it. If it wins, he jots down how much he would have won. If it loses, he notes how much he would have lost. He's not risking a dime of his money. Just playing this mental gambling game. By midnight, he plans to total it all up to see if he won or lost. So there he is, sitting at the table. Everyone else is putting down real money, taking real risk, and he's sitting there with his little notepad, playing his mental game. And guess what? He lost something far more valuable than money. He lost his mind. A lesson here. Don't try to beat the system. Life isn't about skirting the edges, finding loopholes, or trying to outsmart the rules. Learn how the game works, play it the right way, and embrace the process. Trying to cheat the system is a surefire way to lose. Maybe not your money, but something much greater. Be willing to adapt, learn, and grow. That's how you win. Now, here are a few simple steps to go from average to fortune. It's a simple, but it could change everything. Here's the first step, and it's a big one. Get serious. Now, I don't know a substitute for seriousness. You've got to get serious about your life, your future, and your goals. You don't have to walk around grim-faced, but you do need to have a tone of seriousness about what you're doing. I know a guy who's got half a dozen jokes standing between him and wealth. He's not known as wealthy, he's known as the funny guy. Now that's fine if that's the kind of life he wants to live. But let me tell you, it's not the best life. If you want to go from average to fortune, you've got to get serious. And when I say serious, I mean serious about 2 major areas. First, get serious about your goals. Take the time to design your future. Where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish over the next 5 or 10 years? What kind of income do you want to earn? What kind of person do you want to become? What would you like to share with others? These are important questions, and answering them requires real thought and focus. If you don't get serious about your goals, you'll drift, and drifting never leads to fortune. Second, get serious about personal development. You've got to work on becoming the person you want to be. 10 years from now, you will arrive. There's no doubt about that. The question is, where will you arrive? What kind of person will you have become? The person you become is determined by the effort you put into your personal growth starting today. Work on your skills, your mindset, your habits. Because who you become will shape what you achieve. Life is serious. The future is serious. One ancient novelist put it this way: these are the best of times and the worst of times. And it's true. For some, these are the best of times. They're building fortunes, living their dreams, reaching incredible heights. But for others, these are the worst of times. They're struggling, searching for answers, trying to make it through. The difference between these 2 groups often comes down to one thing: seriousness. Are you serious about winning or losing? About succeeding or failing? About carving out a meaningful future for yourself and your family? These are serious questions because they deal with the heart of life. Your income, your relationships, your impact on the world. Don't treat them lightly. Now, here's the next point. Get smart. If you want to make your life worthwhile, you've got to have some ideas. You've got to gather the right information, because nothing changes your life faster than getting smart. And here's the truth. In this decade, you've got to be much smarter than you were in the last. You can't rely on old knowledge in a fast-changing world. You've got to keep learning, growing, and gathering new insights. Whenever I get a chance to talk to young people, especially high school kids, this is my message. Get smart. There's nothing worse than being uninformed. Stupidity is not a strategy for success. If you'll commit to reading the books, learning from your experiences, and seeking out the best information, you'll be wiser this year than you were last year. And that's progress. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of change. Don't be lazy in your learning. Don't skip the training sessions. Don't say, I've already heard that. Hearing it once is no guarantee you've mastered it. Just because you listen to a tape or read a book doesn't mean you've got the lesson. I'm asking you to study things over and over again until they're a part of you. Dedicate yourself to learning at a higher level. Make it a daily habit. Study, grow, and let your learning lead to real change. Here's why this is so critical. Your personal philosophy determines your success. Philosophy is like the set of the sail on a ship. Now, the same wind blows on us all. The wind of opportunity, the wind of difficulty, the wind of change. What makes the difference isn't the wind, it's the set of the sail. A better sail takes you to a better destination. So don't ask for a more favorable wind. That's wishful thinking. Don't curse the wind or blame the sea. Instead, focus on setting a better sail. Here's the key. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't hope for fewer problems. Work on developing greater skills. This is why we're here, rolling up our sleeves, taking notes, and dedicating ourselves to growth. Commit to learning, because when you get smarter, you set a better sail. And with a better sail, you can turn whatever life hands you into the miracle of your future. Now here's the next one. You've got to get going. All the knowledge in the world won't help you if you don't put it into action. You've got to move. You've got to take those ideas, those lessons, and all that valuable information and turn them into a plan of action. That's the key. In my seminars, we talk about this, how to translate learning into doing. Whether it's economic action, social action, or personal action, it all comes down to this. You've got to get going. Some people are ever learning, but they never do. They become like the man who keeps delivering materials to the construction site, but never builds a house. He's got piles of gravel, stacks of bricks, windows, doors, and roofing, all the supplies. But no building. If you do that long enough, they'll eventually come and take you away. You've got to do something with what you've got. That's the secret. Learning how to design your life for action. You've got to figure out how to design your days, your weeks, your months, so that you're taking the right steps to get the right results. Whether it's economic success or personal fulfillment, action is the bridge. Get going. That's how you turn potential into results. And here's the beauty of it. Discipline is the magic ingredient. Want the miracle of your future? Start with the small disciplines. Here's step 1. Do what you can. Clean up neglect. If you could walk around the block for your health, but you don't, you're on the wrong track. If you should read, could read, but don't, you're on the wrong track. If you need to make that call, but keep putting it off, wrong track again. The little things matter, fix them. Here's something to remember. Life won't give you the big assignments until you handle the small ones. You can't straighten out the corporation if you haven't straightened out your garage. That's not how it works. You've got to handle the small disciplines before life entrusts you with the complicated ones. And here's a philosophy for you. All disciplines affect each other. You might think, oh, this doesn't matter, but I'm here to tell you, everything matters. Of course, some things matter more than others, but nothing is insignificant. Neglect the small disciplines, and it starts to show up in other areas of your life. But if you master the small things, you build a solid foundation, and from there you can create anything you want. To create a life that moves from average to extraordinary, there are some essential principles to embrace. First, you've got to get serious. This isn't about being grim or heavy-hearted. It's about taking life and its possibilities with the weight they deserve. Seriousness sets the foundation. It's about committing to your goals, designing your future, and working on personal growth with intention. Life is too precious to approach casually. Seriousness turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. Next, you've got to get smart. Education and learning are the building blocks of success. It's not enough to wish for a better life. You've got to equip yourself with the tools and knowledge to create it. That means reading, listening, observing, and being open to new ideas. Life rewards the curious, those who pursue wisdom with determination. Remember, learning isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. When you keep learning, you keep growing. Once you've got the knowledge, it's time to get going. All the information in the world won't change your life if you don't put it into action. This is where discipline comes in, taking consistent, deliberate steps every day to turn ideas into results. Neglecting the small things can derail progress, so take care of the little disciplines, and they'll pave the way for bigger opportunities. Action transforms potential into reality. And then there's excitement. Get excited about the possibilities. Get excited about your capacity to change, to grow, to achieve. True excitement doesn't come from surface level enthusiasm. It comes from within. From knowing that at any moment, you can take a step that reshapes your life. This deep excitement stirs commitment, fuels courage, and keeps you moving forward, even when the road gets tough.